This news program is proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Now Biscuits.
Opposition appoint shadow ministers. Plans on field storage facility. And Tambua charged with 26 counts. A very good evening. This is National EMTV News. I'm Grace Papiali. Thank you for joining us. Leader of the opposition, Douglas Tomariesa, today announced the opposition's appointment of its shadow cabinet and ministers, noting the importance this provides in the country's democratic functioning.
Opposition leader stated that the appointment is in accordance with keeping the government to account. The shadow cabinet follows parliamentary conventions to ensure they have concurrent oversight of the National Executive Council for accountability and transparency's sake.
We have shadow ministries for all our members on our side now in the opposition. If there is any issue with Attorney General, law, deal with the Honorable Member for Hiri Koyari, who is now the Shadow Minister for Attorney General. And there's other ministries also that come under his jurisdiction. The member for Chuave and Deputy Opposition Leader takes over the finance and treasury responsibility as the shadow minister. And so we have the full list of all shadow ministries.
Mr. Tomariesa said that the shadow ministers, although not fully fledged ministers, will aim to provide alternative policies on the ministries they are responsible for, with the aim to work with the line agencies to listen to what they think can be achieved better.
We are well organized. We are ready to take the government to task. And so if there is anything to do with law and order, you go straight to the Shadow Minister for Police. Anything to do with mining, you go straight to the Shadow Minister for Mining. Okay? And so if there is anything to do with the Prime Minister, then I am the opposition leader. We'll deal with those issues, and we have the alternate Prime Minister here.
He further added that the opposition are eager to lead, serve and provide solutions, whether the government choose to listen or not. In the meantime, Sinisini Yongumug MP Kerenga Kua called on the government to take on the critics raised by the opposition and address it accordingly and not brush it aside.
Obligated to keep the government of the day accountable continuously. And as we critique the performances of the government, we also expect that they will take our commentaries in good faith, seriously, and respond to the substance of whatever points and issues that we raise, instead of brushing it aside. We all know that our country is not in a good health. Our country is in a very, very bad condition. And therefore, this communication, exchange, dialogue, and critiquing between opposition and government, we owe it to our people to be very frank, very candid, and be very serious about it.
Sharon Engnui, National EMTV News.
The government is resorting to build infrastructure for fuel storage in the country. Prime Minister James Marape revealed that the cabinet has decided on this measure to address the recurring fuel crisis the country is facing, following Puma Energy PNG's forex issues.
Prime Minister James Marape has revealed that the government is looking at setting up infrastructure to store fuel supplies. This initiative will involve partnership with the United States.
In the long term, we're also looking at possibility of setting up with Kumul and subsidiaries additional infrastructure for fuel storage. We're looking at working with US under the Defense Cooperation Agreement for possibility of fuel bunkering in Leh and Port Moresby and possibly Manus for long-term fuel security. This is something we're working on in our national interest, to have fuel storage that is not dependent on companies.
Prime Minister James Marape also added that the government is looking at the possibility of acquiring Puma Energy PNG's facilities at Napa Napa under negotiable terms.
We will also be looking at possibility of at fair market value. Puma is found to be not good to work in the economy, then at fair market value, we're looking to work at picking up the infrastructure they have in Napa Napa. Those have been decided upon, and part of the review will take place in the 1999 agreement. In as far as with the Napa Napa project agreement is concerned, we'll look through all of this and have a holistic approach for long-term fuel security of our country.
Puma currently occupies a substantially large part of the country's fuel market, and Prime Minister assures that the government is working through legal means to fix the current issues with the country's biggest fuel supplier, and Comol Petroleum is prepared to bring in additional gas. Prime Minister extends gratitude to KPHL, ExxonMobil and other fuel suppliers stepping in to assist in the current fuel dilemma the country is facing. Francisca Anania, National EMTV News.
Shadow Minister for Petroleum, Energy and International Trade and Investment, Karen Gakua, today called on the government to be clear and legally compliant in its response to the fuel crisis. Kua further called on the government to allow the banking institutions to run their affairs independently.
In the news conference today, Mr. Kua reaffirmed that he had made submissions to the NEC with 15 recommendations captured that the government should take note of. However, he indicated that government has turned a blind eye to the recommendations made.
He has not been able to take the steps recommended in the 15 recommendations set out in the final report. That is why we have ended up where we are. Puma has shut down.
Kua further added that the solution to addressing this fuel crisis in the country is to appoint a new minister to address these issues, highlighting that the new minister will have the jurisdiction to exercise its powers to address this issue.
For instance, the Prime Minister chose not to appoint a new energy minister for nearly 3 months.
Kua further stressed that government continued pressure on the financial institution to allow Puma to operate is a risky call, stating that this will stain the bank reputation at an international level and will impact the functioning of the economy.
Bank of Papua New Guinea is an independent organization. Its independence must be respected, and the state must stay away from them. Rather than the government advising the Bank of Papua New Guinea, the Bank of Papua New Guinea should be advising the government. BSP must be left alone. What the government is risking is, you see, the more they impose upon Bank of South Pacific and insist upon the BSP towing the line, they are forcing the BSP into a situation of breach in relation to its relationships with other foreign commercial banks in what they call the correspondent banking relationship.
Kua called on the government to allow the banks to operate independently and urged for the government to have a dialogue with all stakeholders to find a better solution to the issue.
It's an ongoing issue. No finality has been found to this issue, and we hope that we as the opposition will continue to maintain our vigilance over the government handling of this issue until they find a proper short-term solution and a long-term solution, and also deal with the shortage of forex issues that's also impacting upon, is the root cause of everything that we're finding ourselves in.
Sharon Engnui, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, members of the opposition have refuted the claim from the government on the possible involvement of Forgery Act in the filing of the motion of vote of no confidence. This was addressed at a news conference in Port Moresby today.
Following a statement made by the Prime Minister James Marape claiming that the opposition has forged the signature of the former opposition member in the filing of the motion of vote of no confidence, opposition leader refuted the claim.
And so if the governor for Moresby has denied all these allegations and he's mentioned to me that the forgery claim is actually coming within their own house, within the government caucus, then somebody needs to be held responsible for this, because the country does not need any more lies.
Adding on, the alternate Prime Minister Alan Bird reaffirmed opposition stand to push for the vote of no confidence in May, highlighting that as the responsible opposition, they are doing their research and consulted experts and conclude that it will be best to wait till May to pursue the vote of no confidence.
Preparation for that member withdrawing and nullifying our motion, we then prepared a third motion. This is the proper process, the proper way of doing things. It was still with the Speaker and the opposition. Remember, the office of the Speaker is equal, it should be equal to both sides. So we were still dealing with the Speaker. When the final motion went, which was the one on the 20th, that one should have been considered by the private business committee. Which one of those the private business committee dealt with, we still don't know to this day.
Sharon Engnui, National EMTV News.
Member for Goroka Ayatambua voluntarily brought himself to police custody, where he was charged with 26 counts relating to various sexual offences against members of his family. This is following the complaints filed by the MP's wife and 2 daughters at Boroko Police Station last year.
And City Metropolitan Superintendent Silva Sika has confirmed in an interview yesterday evening that Goroka MP Ayatambua voluntarily surrendered himself at the police headquarters and was arrested and charged by Boroko CID with 26 counts relating to various sexual offences allegedly perpetrated against his own wife and 2 daughters.
With our policemen in NCD, especially the CIDs, after receiving the complaint from the family, and they've been pursuing him to have him interviewed on the allegations which were laid by the complainants, which are his immediate family.
Matsub Silva Sika indicated that the police commissioner wrote to the MP on Friday and he voluntarily came to police headquarters for the record of interview before he was charged and taken to the Boroko police station cells. He elaborated by acknowledging Tambua's willingness to surrender to police after attempts to arrest him last year were stalled in the lead-up to Christmas due to various reasons, and further delays were encountered due to the recent vote of no confidence motion in Parliament.
Sincerely thank the Honourable Member Ayatambua for his willingness and voluntarily coming forward and giving himself up to the police.
Mr. Sika said the following charges were laid against the parliamentarian by detectives investigating the complaints are 1 count of rape, 2 counts of sexual touching of a child, 14 counts of sexual assault, 2 counts of abuse of trust, authority or dependency, and 6 counts of compelled to touch. Mr. Sika said, considering the severity and criminal nature of the charges filed against the MP, police cannot grant bail to Mr. Tambua, but his lawyer can apply for bail in court.
Current the situation with the member who has been arrested for the sexual offence that which has been alleged to have committed. In the meantime, is innocent. He's innocent until he's proven guilty by a competent court of law.
Mr. Sika also indicated that the MP's estranged wife and 2 daughters filed their complaint at Boroko Police Station last year before fleeing out of the country in fear of their own safety and security. Louis Maingu, National EMTV News.
Following Ayatambua's arrest yesterday, he was released from police custody after his lawyers filed an urgent bail application at the Waigani Committal Court. He was granted bail by Magistrate Paul Nurini at around 11 p.m. last night. He will appear in court for his first mention on the 4th of April 2024. National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. The alarming traffic jams on the roads of Port Moresby City prompt citizens to raise questions and demand the authority responsible to look into addressing this issue.
Traffic congestion began as early as 7 a.m. from this road linking Taurama and Manu. Commuters were forced to walk while commuters in vehicles wait to reach their destination with time not on their side. This long queue of traffic is evident almost every day at the peak hours, most especially on the working days from Monday to Friday. Commuters who choose to walk by foot seem to be reaching the nearest bus stop much quicker compared to those traveling on vehicles. PMVs were seen breaching the traffic rules as they access the footpath to avoid the long queue of traffic. Disgruntled commuter Yaska Tiamai expressed that this long queue of traffic is forcing commuters to attend to work and school late and called on the authority to look into addressing this issue.
Now I'm planting all man all come in the city, all markets, work security, all small karna, all only one man, only karna, all other man, only karna, all traffic jam, all Kama lo man maybe by sim big la barablo now. Logo kam lo school lo work na dislakain something bakamap. So to make it easy, mosem PNG customs by. Look sabi lo wanem all man like sim car na dislakain almost make sure that give him car lo way block give car because planting man or legally man lo place to come in na kisi car must be legally place na traffic jam o kamap lo man maybe school beginning all bahad lo ko kam lo work.
Echoing the same sentiment, Mackenzie Simakin called on the authority responsible to look into the influx of vehicles into the city. In the meantime, PMV buses have normalized the collection of Tukina bus fare from commuters due to this traffic jam. This traffic jam dilemma is evident in most parts of the city, prompting citizens to raise concerns. However, attempts to get comments from the relevant authorities were unsuccessful. Sharon Engnui, National EMTV News.
The Central Provincial Police Commander Laimo Asi has appealed to all drivers to report to him immediately if police officers are caught doing illegal roadblocks along their way to Central Province. This was said following a concern raised by a bus driver traveling from Port Moresby to Central Province.
Bus drivers raised their concerns, stating that they face about 2 to 3 roadblocks each day along the highway to Central Province.
So kind of me una blo drama mi plasa corona mo se one plate day mi plasa pay 400 or 300 500 600 number mi plasa come up destination.
Another bus driver also shared the same sentiment, stating that police officers are forcing the drivers and the passengers to pay some amount of money.
About this la police or kisimol drivers na boskus na PMV go la tapot. Plenty time police demand lo money. Time will charging car, over charging each individual of this la tapot according to boy below you. So police me plus looking was also double payment also kisim.
Meanwhile, PPC-RC encourages drivers to report the police officers who conduct unnecessary roadblocks.
Sometimes the roadblocks are only set up by the policemen, which I always discourage. And my encouragement to the PMVs, drivers, please listen carefully. By now, you should know which policeman is head door. They've been there for 15 to 20 years, and any PMV that is driving through, you should know these people. There's no new person coming in there to do the roadblock. So my advice is get the name of that person and report it to me.
He said to deal with those police officers dealing illegal activities.
So we can deal with these people who are confiscating licenses and allowing the drivers to drive without license. These are illegal activities that's happening. But they all make license and then call for any, exchange or extortion or what I can call it, which is illegal.
He said a proper statement is needed to identify the police who do such illegal activities.
Once the report comes through the media, and some of you guys calling me, they go, PPC, there's a roadblock there, and they confiscated the license. What are you going to do about it? How would I know that? What type of person, what type of human being is there on the road confiscating your license? This is bad. I want the statement, I want the name. Nothing happens. So the game continues.
Estagane, National EMTV News.
The police officer who allegedly shot and killed a bus driver in Port Moresby has been charged for murder and was arrested yesterday.
The bus driver was shot at point blank by a police officer using a state-issued firearm at Manu Auto Point in NCD. Autopsies have been completed by medical specialists, which confirmed the death of this young man was due to massive loss of blood from gun wounds. And witnesses have submitted statements to the police CID division. The NCD Metropolitan Superintendent Silva Sika confirmed that the prime suspect was arrested and charged on an account of second-degree murder at around 4 p.m. yesterday.
The policeman who actually alleged to have been involved in the shooting of this bus driver or bus crew has been arrested today. He's been arrested and detained already, and he's been charged for willful murder. So, like I said, it's a process that will go through, normal process to go through in the court, and it's still innocent until he's proven guilty by a competent court of law. So, he's been arrested already. Currently, he's been detained in a Morocco cell.
The late driver's spokesman said they understand that there were other police officers who were at the crime scene together at that time who would possibly be accomplices to the crime but may walk away by prejudgment of police investigators. The relatives of the deceased have pursued justice for their loved one, and they said the same must be upheld by responsible police CID and prosecution officers. For now, the suspect is in police custody, and they are relieved that the wheel of justice has rolled to take its rightful course and must be seen by all at the end. The family thanks everyone who stood tall to see justice for late Jesse Ambu and confirmed that they will repatriate the body to his own province tomorrow. Estagane, National EMTV News.
Wantok Produce Limited Managing Director Dr. Pulotu McCarthy confirmed the huge demand for locally produced food in the New Zealand and Australian markets. This was revealed at the launching of the first shipment of 13 tons of taro under Wantok Produce Limited and the National Agriculture Research Institute over the weekend.
Speaking at the launching, Dr. Pulotu said the Pacific people like to have their own food, their own way, and that's the market to send in local producers. He said his company has collaborated with Nari throughout its company Nari Enterprises Limited to commercially produce taro so that they are able to fulfill the market. Dr. Pulotu said currently in New Zealand, 76% of the market is controlled by Fiji, and PNG can also tap into that market. He said the islanders living in New Zealand have a passion for their food, but he has not seen local agriculture producers from PNG in New Zealand, and decided to trial it with the first export of PNG taro to New Zealand. Dr. Pulotu said after the New Zealand shipment, he will also be sending taro to Australia, which he has secured a market. Agriculture Minister John Boito said through the promotion of local food crop production such as taro and the creation of job opportunities, this will help to contribute to the overall development and advancement of the country. Sharon Engnui, National EMTV News.
The Coffee Ministry handover takeover ceremony took place today at the Grand Papua Hotel in Port Moresby, where the outgoing Minister for Coffee, Joe Cooley, passed on the ministerial role to incoming Minister William Bando.
During the ceremonial event, outgoing Coffee Minister and Minister for Correctional Services, Joe Cooley, expressed his gratitude towards the Coffee Ministry and gave remarks on the progress and congratulated the new minister on his newly appointed role.
I welcome you all for this important ceremony of handover takeover of the Coffee Ministry. Let me first of all, thank God, our Creator, for the gift of life we have. Secondly, I have to thank the Moresby Rosa government for appointing me as a Minister of Coffee, a newly Coffee Ministry. I served as a Coffee Ministry for the last 17 months. Thirdly, I want to thank all my support staff, CIC board members, CIC management and staff, especially CEO Charles Dubai and Dr. Mike Kenny for supporting me over the last 17 months.
Newly appointed Coffee Minister William Bando reverted with thanks.
Thank you for all the great work you've been doing in the sector. I will only continue where you stopped. All the distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Secretary for Agriculture, the media, CEO, Mr. Dambui, and every one of us here today. Thank you for coming. I have a few things to say, but today, as you see, I'm dressed in red. And coincidentally, my colleague minister and outgoing minister is also almost near red. That's how on fire we are for this sector. This sector is, as you've heard from him, it's a very important sector that's been ignored or that's been neglected since Bougainville copper came into the picture.
Present to witness the event was the Minister for State-Owned Enterprises, William Duma, Minister for Fisheries, Jelta Wong, CIC CEO, Charles Dambui, and the Coffee Ministry staff, amongst others. Claire Mauta, National EMTV News.
Now we take a look at the Nest Fund market report. The Kina closed unchanged at $0.2659 US in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, Yokina was buying $0.2584 US, 0.3943 Australian dollars, 0.2304 euro, 38.57 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading higher, coffee closed higher, cocoa closed higher, copra closed higher, palm oil closed lower, crude oil is trading higher, copper closed unchanged. On the stock market, the Dow Jones closed lower, the ASX 200 is trading lower, the All Ordinaries is trading lower. National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. PNG Trade Union Congress is bringing up the International Labour Organization Convention 190 and appeals that the government must amend the outdated Employment Act 1976 for safer and fairer work environment in the country. This follows a recent alleged sexual assault and termination case of a female mine worker.
Following Octedi Mining Limited's former staff Susan Joseph's appearance on local media on being sexually assaulted and later terminated, PNG Trade Union Congress has intervened in that matter. They have urged the government to look into amending the Employment Act to allow equal rights between employers and employees.
The right to hire and fire solely rests with the employer. And that's how the Act is designed. She is a victim of that legislation, the all outdated legislation. So it is important to see the convention, ILO Convention 190 in that light.
On the 21st of June 2019, the International Labour Organization adopted a new labour standard to combat violence and harassment in the workplace. The Violence and Harassment Convention 2019 and the Violence and Harassment Recommendation 2019 were adopted by delegates representing government and employers and workers' organizations. TUC appeals to the government to look into the Employment Act in this regard.
There's nothing you can do if you are in a master-servant situation. You are the servant, you can't speak against the master. Why is the master so powerful? Because the legislation empowers him. The country needs to say this. This needs to be blown out so that our leaders, whatever they do, must fast-track changes, amendments to the law, rather than passing legislation to protect themselves. Pass legislation to protect our weak, protect our workers.
Meanwhile, despite OTML's advice to investigate the allegations of Ms. Joseph, the country's mining giant has now resorted to suing Ms. Joseph for 3 alleged defamatory publications on several media platforms. Susan Joseph, however, confirmed today that no court summons was issued to her, nor was she notified by OTML's lawyer or the courts.
I only read it in the paper when I got a paper yesterday that there's a court sitting today for me and OTML. So I'm planning to go as a law-abiding citizen. I'm a genuine person. I don't have anything to hold back. I spoke the truth, and I'm willing to go today, even though I have not served the summons.
Justice Derek Wood has ordered for Ms. Joseph's constitutional right to a fair hearing and all court documents be given to her before the hearing today. Francisca Anania, National EMTV News.
The United States Ambassador to Papua New Guinea, Her Excellency Anne-Marie Shock, undertook a courtesy visit to meet with Papua New Guinea's Deputy Prime Minister John Rosso in Port Moresby recently. The meeting was marked by constructive discussions aimed at strengthening the long-standing ties between the two countries.
During the meeting, Ambassador Yashiok and Deputy Prime Minister Rosso explored various areas of collaboration where both countries can extend assistance to each other. Discussions centered on bolstering economic cooperation, enhancing security partnerships, educational and health assistance, and advancing cultural exchanges. Ambassador Yashiok stated that the United States values its partnership with Papua New Guinea and is committed to working together to promote peace, prosperity, and stability in the region. Deputy Prime Minister Rosso echoed this sentiment, sharing that a long history of friendship and cooperation through dialogue and collaboration where PNG can leverage its strengths to address key challenges and seize opportunities for mutual benefit. One of the significant outcomes of the meeting was the discussion on the possibility of establishing annual bilateral meetings between the two nations. Claire Mauta, National EMTV News.
National MTV News continues after the break with Trukai Sport. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The PNG Olympic Committee, under the leadership of President Sir John Dawaninkura, today acknowledged the PNG government, PNG Sports Foundation, Kumul Mineral Holdings and National Gaming Control Board for their support. PNG OC provided an update on the status of government funding towards Team PNG to the 2023 Solomon Islands Pacific Games.
At a workshop, PNG OC has advised national federations that 4 million kina out of the 8.24 million kina support package announced by the PNG government for the Pacific Games had been received to date. In addition, the National Gaming Control Board also committed 1 million kina towards Team PNG, whilst a direct payment to New Guinea of 1.965 million kina for the team's charter flights was made. This leaves a balance of approximately 3.24 million kina yet to be paid to PNG OC. Sir John revealed on the 19th of February, PNG OC submitted to the PNG Sports Foundation a detailed acquittal on the funds received and acknowledged their responsibility to ensure that these public funds are properly accounted for. PNG OC advised national federations that it is actively pursuing the remaining 3.24 million kina. Sir John stated that preparing our team for the games is crucially important, and due to delays in the release of funding committed by the government, PNG OC dipped into its reserves in order to support the athletes in their preparations. He further added that the remaining funds are committed to Team PNG and should be forwarded to PNG OC in order to replenish their reserves and enable PNG OC and members of the federations to prepare for the Pacific Mini Games next year in Palau. Sir John shared that they do not wish to be in the same position next year, chasing funding right up to the departure of the team, and therefore call on the PNG Sports Foundation to immediately forward the balance of 3.24 million kina. Claire Mauta, Trukai Sports.
The PNG Athletics Commission has appointed Andrew Mullen as the new PNG Athletes Commission Chair during the Team PNG Review workshop led by the PNG Olympic Committee. Mullen, also an athlete who is well known from the sport of karate and kung fu, was appointed in place of the outgoing Ryan Penny. He will chair for the next 4 years. Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. The PNG Boxing Union has successfully completed the senior and juniors trials and is expecting other major events this year.
In a recent interview with this newsroom, Tournament Director Kazu Temu said that PNG Boxing Union has received an invitation.
There would be a event which PNG Boxing Union has been invited by the Queensland Games. So that would be held in early June, from the 2nd of June to the 5th of June. So these trials is basically going to go towards that games here.
Temu further said that there will be another event in Tahiti this year.
Well, we also have the junior, the youth and junior championships that would be taking place in Tahiti. Tahiti on the from the 2nd to the 5th of June. So we are hoping that we identify some up-and-coming talent at these trials tomorrow.
Jonathan Sibona, Trukai Sports.
That ends True Kai Sports. The Money Plus weather report is next. Stay with us.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus, with you always.
The weather forecast for the next 24 hours in the southern region, Port Moresby City, partly cloudy with some showers and possible thunderstorms. Popondetta, partly cloudy with some showers possible. In the Momase region, Lae City, partly cloudy with some showers. Vanimo, partly cloudy with some showers possible. In the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau, partly cloudy with some showers possible. Buka, cloudy with some showers possible. In the Highlands region, Mount Hagen City, cloudy with few showers and possible thunderstorms. Mendi, Tari and Wabeg, partly cloudy and few showers with possible thunderstorms.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by Money Plus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Tuesday, the 5th of March, 2024. From all of us here, pleasant viewing. Good night.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.